We are living in an information age, and information is probably the most valuable asset that you can have as a trainer, a consultant, or a manager. So in this video and in corresponding videos, I'm going to be showing you how information that relates to the use of force can work for you and how it can make you successful. Now, if you are a trainer or a martial artist running self-defense classes, or you are coming out of the police or the prison service or the armed forces, or even leaving whatever industry sector you're in to set up in business as a personal safety, physical restraint, arrest and restraint, management of violence and aggression trainer, you are going to be as valuable as the information that you can provide. In fact, I can tell you this categorically: the information you provide, or the quality of the information you provide, is going to be directly proportional to the success that you will achieve. And that goes without saying, because there is a lot of information out there. Some of it is based on misconception and myth, and some of it is bordering on grossly negligent. But just stop and think for a minute. How valuable are you going to be in your customers' eyes when they come to you for information and you can give it to them? Business is about one thing, and I've learned this over many years of being in business. If you can solve someone's problem, and by solving that problem, you either make the money or you save the money, you are valuable. Now, let's talk about saving money for a minute. Why would this be a benefit to you? Well, even if you're not a consultant or a trainer or looking to go into business, maybe you are the manager or the head of a department, or you might be the head teacher of a school, or you may own a care home. This is why this is going to be important to you too. The Corporate Manslaughter and Corporate Homicide Act is in effect now, and there are over 50, probably more cases pending as I'm talking to you right now. The starting fine for an organisation being prosecuted under that act for gross negligence manslaughter, and what that means is someone who you have a duty of care towards has died in your care, the starting fine is £500,000. And if you are found guilty by a court of corporate manslaughter, you have to advertise that fact on your website and on your letterheaded paper and in all your correspondence. It can be enforced by a court that you need to do that. That is going to put you out of business. That is not going to make you money, and you are going to lose hundreds of thousands of pounds. So what I'm going to show you, and what I'm going to teach you, and what I'm going to tell you about over the range of videos I'm going to give you, is how you can make that legislation work for you. And it's not difficult. It's actually quite easy. But there is so much legislation out there. Where does one start? Well, where do you start having a look at this? Because you'll have heard about common law and you'll have heard about criminal law, I'm sure. And if you are a trainer, you probably teach people about common law and criminal law, or you've been taught about it yourself. But there are other bits of legislation that come into play as well. For example, in the workplace, there's health and safety at work legislation. If you're teaching arrest and restraint, or physical intervention as they now call it, then you have the manual handling regulations that apply to that, because physical restraint is a manual handling activity, but you probably know that anyway. And I'm going to show you how those regulations apply. What about people that work on their own? There's legislation for that too, and you can go to the HSE website and look at the legislation that relates to lone workers, because if you, let's say, are a door supervisor trainer and you are teaching people how to use force in line with security industry authorities' requirements to eject people from a premises or to control and restrain violent individuals, there are serious rules and regulations about lone workers, and a door supervisor working on their own on a door or in isolation away from other people is classified as a lone worker. And if you are the trainer, you need to make sure you're complying with that too, because otherwise they can come back to you for bad advice. In fact, in a lot of police training literature now, they're quoting Article 13 of the European Convention on Human Rights, which basically says, and you'll learn more about this when you subscribe to the course, is that you are going to be held accountable for the advice and guidance that you give as a person in authority. And if that advice and guidance is wrong, and someone is injured or is basically hurt as a result of that, they can seek compensation through the courts through you. So there's no point going into business with the wrong information, because all you're doing is setting yourself up to fail. So we're going to give you an awful lot of stuff. We're going to show you how all this legislation not only works, but how it knits together, how it combines. Because what you need to know about is human rights legislation. You need to know about the Corporate Manslaughter and Corporate Homicide Act. You need to know about all the various aspects of health and safety legislation. If you're teaching vulnerable people, if you're teaching people who work with vulnerable people, then you need to know about the various care home regulations. And if you're working with children in particular, then, or teaching head teachers of schools, or maybe you are a head teacher of a school listening to this, then you need to know about the Education Act and the Education Inspections Act, and you need to know about the Children's Act, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, and various other bits of legislation and guidance out there that all need to interlink together. Because here's the other thing. Some of this information is contradictory. One government department we know has issued guidance that says you can only do X. And another government department has issued guidance saying you can do Y. And they contradict each other. Now just think for a second. People out there are confused by this. In fact, many people out there are learning to be helpless by this, and it's scaring them. Even if you teach self-defense, people out there need information. In fact, we did a survey. We did a massive survey. Hundreds of people kindly replied to that survey. We asked them this question, amongst other questions, of course, but we asked them one question. If we could give you one thing that would help you improve your business, what would it be? And that one thing was information. They wanted up-to-date and current information on things like the law, health and safety, human rights, position asphyxiation, the science, psychology of training, all these things that go into the melting pot that we need to know about when we're designing and delivering training or even commissioning use of force training. And that's where this program has come from. Another thing people asked us for, by the way, was how to market their business. So if you're leaving the service, say the police service or the prison service, or you decided to go it on your own, or you may unfortunately be made redundant, so you've got no choice but to go on your own, or you may be in the armed forces and you're looking to set up in business as a trainer, well, you really need to understand that the information that you give is going to be directly proportional to the success that you actually experience. And what that means is if you are giving good information, you are going to be more successful. If you give bad information, then you won't be. People will use you once. Now, we've been in this business for over 20 odd years, and we prided ourselves on making sure that the information that we give to people is of the highest standard and of the highest quality. And I'm now going to give you the opportunity of learning about that from us. Now, all I can say with regard to that, and you can Google me and you can check me out and you can look at our website and find out all about us, and I'll leave you to do your own due diligence. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet. That's not what this is about. But what I can say is the proof is in the pudding. We are one of the most successful companies in the UK doing this today. And we've been around for 20 years doing it, which means that we have a track record of success. And we're still here. And we're still doing it right. I'm considered to be one of the leading experts in the field on the use of force. I mean, I've written books on the subject, I've written reports for court, I've even been involved in providing evidence for House of Lords and House of Commons Joint Committee report on human rights, and I've given testimony at tribunals, at court, and I've even supported people at the Old Bailey. Now, I'm not telling you this to impress you, I'm telling you this to impress this upon you. I get engaged, my services get used because people recognise the quality and the standard of the information that they get from me. And I'll back it up. We give a promise. If you use our services, we will stand up and be accounted for. We will say, we taught that. That's a massive guarantee. Now, I want to help you do that too. And I'm going to show you how it can be done. And it starts by learning about your key area. It starts by learning about skill. Now, we can all learn, and we all learn all the time. I learn all the time. I never stop learning. I think that's one of the beauties of life, is that there is so much opportunity to learn. So no matter who you are watching this, there is something for you in the information that we're going to be presenting to you and giving to you. So if you're a martial artist and you're providing self-defense training for your clients, this is a great place to be. There's going to be loads of information there. If you are a police officer, prison officer leaving the service, you're looking to set up in business, this is a great place to be. If you're in the NHS and you're leaving, or you may be in another occupation, you've been made redundant, or it might just be that your passion is to start teaching this, we're going to help you. And we're going to give you a step-by-step modular approach into understanding all the law and everything else that relates to use of force training. Now, I'm really excited about this. I'm absolutely 100% overjoyed about this, because this is a massive, massive arena, and it's been a lot of work, and it's taken 20 years for us to get to the point where we can offer this to you. And in the next video, I'm going to be talking to you a lot more about a particular area that you really, really need to be aware of, and you should really know about inside out and back to front, which is going to make you really valuable in the industry. Thanks ever so much for listening, and I'll see you on the next video. All the best. See you later.